I'm not sure about the Samaritan parable, but I don't think I like it. If I figure out what it means, I'll probably really dislike it. So the function of a parable, we'll get more examples of this tomorrow, the function of a parable is to participate. It's to lure the audience into argument. If at the end of a parable, the audience files past Jesus and says, "Lovely parable this morning, Rabbi," then it's a total failure. Total failure. Don't use it again, Jesus. You blew it. If they start arguing with one another, "Well, I don't think any Samaritan would ever help a Jew." "Well, I know a Samaritan, a good guy. Besides, why are you always picking on priests and Levites? You're so anti-clerical. I know a Levite and he's a good guy. And besides, 2 denarii isn't enough for staying in an inn." You know, all of that stuff is exactly what you want the audience to do, because you're luring, provoking, annoying your audience into participation. So, parables are participatory pedagogy. Isn't that beautiful? Parables are participatory pedagogy. It's like if your message is about collaboration, your message is about participation, so should your medium. It should be luring people into thinking, by not doing what I'm doing right now, giving a sermon. It's telling a story which is calculated to trap them into discourse. Let me exemplify from the Good Samaritan. Supposing Jesus told that story and mentioned no names. Supposing he simply said a person was going down, a second person passed, a third person passed, a fourth. Said everything in the whole story, but no names. No priest, no Levite, no Samaritan. Okay? You could imagine your audience sitting there and saying, "Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should do that. If we ever found somebody dying in the ditch, yeah, love your neighbor. Remember that stuff in Deuteronomy? Yeah, we should probably do that." It would be kind of nicely massaging their best intentions. Nobody would be annoyed. They mightn't even argue back. What's to argue about? They know they should do it. Now let's imagine Jesus ups the ante a bit. Keeps the same story now. And he simply mentions a priest and a Levite passed by the man in the ditch, and then a third person stops and helps. Now there might be some turmoil. You're going to have some people saying, as I just said, "How come you're always so you're always picking on the priests?" I know the local priest. He's a good guy. He would have stopped and helped. You're just mean. You're prejudiced. Now you're going to get some discussion about priests and Levites and clergy and all the rest of it. Jesus tries another version of the parable. Priest and Levite. And then he puts the Samaritan in the ditch. So a Samaritan's been beaten up and is lying in the ditch, and it's a Jew passing by. Okay, now there's a little bit more nervousness in the audience, but okay, that's, maybe, there is that stuff in the law about the resident alien, and maybe if a Samaritan's in our territory, it sounded like, maybe we should do it. No, we shouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it to us. Yes, we should. You could get an argument on that. But what Jesus does is really provocative. He puts the Jew in the ditch, and the Samaritan stops to help. And of course, we say Good Samaritan, and we don't think a thing about it. We've just said, square circle in the first century, and there's no problem. You would have to get the same thing today. You would take somebody that we consider outlaw, the outcast, and make them the hero of the story. Try telling a story, I suppose, on television about the good terrorist. You can put in your own person. This is going to really get the audience riled up. Why did you do that, Jesus? If you want to give us a nice message that we should help somebody who's in distress, even our enemy, we'll go with you a little bit along that. We're not going to do it, of course, but we like the idea. But you put the Samaritan as the hero. And then at the end you told us, go and do likewise. But we're all Jews. How can we do likewise? Does he mean we should troll up and down the road between Jerusalem and Jericho looking for semi-corpses? I mean, you're forced to think, and nobody in their right mind is going to think, okay, now, what he wants me to do is stop being a Jew, become a Samaritan, get myself a donkey and some denarii, cruise up and down that road till I find the corpse. Of course not. And do you sense immediately how absolutely absurd it would be if after Jesus tells that parable and says, go and do likewise, somebody raises their hands, excuse me, Jesus, did that really happen? It wouldn't just be unwise, it would be a great way of dragging a huge red herring across the whole thing. Supposing somebody did that. Jesus, did that really happen? You know, I've been on that road, and it is a dangerous road, and you're right, it does go down quite a bit. And I've seen a donkey, so yeah, that must have happened, right? Jesus, this is just local gossip. Did you hear the one about the Samaritan, like? Jesus would have to hope that somebody in the audience is going to say again, it's a parable, dummy. If they don't, he's in serious trouble. If the whole discussion is whether this actually happened, then of course the whole thing has been missed.